Sports coming up next. I always wanted to be a drummer in a rock and roll band, you know?
I could set up a drum set in your garage if you like.
Yeah, my wife would really like that.
So will your neighbors.
Good morning, everybody. Coach Mike here, Kids and Sports on the Rant Radio Network. Sitting here with my co-host, Alex Alanis. Good morning, Alex.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
You're looking like you're feeling really good this morning.
I am feeling good.
Better than last week, huh?
Well, you know what it is? My doctor changed my insulin.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I told you we're going to talk about that, but that's okay.
I knew you'd bring that up.
The coach has homework for you. All right. Make sure you check out the website, www.kidzandsports.com. That's KIDZN as in Nancy sports.com. My email address, coachmike@kidzandsports.com. I like to hear from you. I want to know that you're out there. I want to know that you're doing okay. And you can tell us by calling in the show today, 855-693-4897. We're gonna argue about something sooner or later today. I know that because this is open. What do they call it? I had a different name and I blew it now.
How about Open Line Wednesday?
No, it's Tuesday though. You're not.
That's right. I'm thinking of my show.
My show's on Tuesday.
Right
I was
on.
Tantalizing Talk Tuesday or something.
Oh,
like
there you
that.
go.
We'll come up with something. We're going to have a variety of subjects today, but check out the website. Sign up for my newsletter. That way you know what's coming up in weeks and months to come as we get people in. Next week, we're going to be talking about golf. The week after that, we're going to be talking some softball. Today, we're going to talk about anything you want to call. 855-969-RANT or 855-693-4897, your choice. But give us a call. I'm giving away some money today. I'm going to give away $20. I don't know, a gift card, something. And I don't know. I'll decide later. It's either going to be the best caller. It might be. I might put all the callers in the hat and
well, wait a second,
draw a
Mike.
name.
Is that
you don't
fair?
get the $20.
No, not me.
Oh, okay.
But is that fair to the caller? We need to know. We need some specifics, Mike. Give us some specifics.
What do you mean specifics?
Well, you're kind of throwing it out there like a blanket statement. I'm going to give out some money to whoever, but come on.
I'll think about it. It's my money. I can give it away
Oh,
any way I
okay.
want.
It's like that. All right.
Okay, so
now you mentioned something about golf. I'm interested. Kids and sports. I don't think I've ever seen it. Well,
I've got a youth golf program. I met a guy on I think it was on Facebook or whatever. His name's Luis Batson. He actually came over to Contacts and Coffee. I got to meet him the other day. Really cool. And well, you playing golf already? That's your shot, huh? Okay. But he has a program called Help Youths Through Golf. And he actually does free golf lessons, has the equipment and everything for him. He's going to be here next Tuesday.
That's cool. I've never seen that before. I never even heard of it.
He used to be at Norwalk Golf Course. Now he's over in Compton. And great idea. And he has, actually I found on one of his pictures, one of my friends from Norwalk Girls Softball, his son and daughter, I guess, were participating in the program for a little bit. So that's pretty cool.
So let me get this straight.
That's terribly sexy.
Oh, gee, Chris.
Here we go.
Somebody's awake today.
Manny's getting crazy with the board over there. Let me get this straight. So, number one, I've never heard of kids golf, but now you mentioned Compton.
Yeah.
Is there a golf course in Compton?
Yes, there is.
You're kidding me.
Compton Golf Course.
Wow.
There's actually another one down there, and I can't remember.
Like,
there's actually a big major, but I can't remember which. I haven't played in quite a while. I'm tempted to get back out. I still have my clubs.
That's like badminton in the Bronx,
There you go. Make sure you download your Kids and Sports app, by the way. That way, if you miss us live, the day after I hook up the show to the archive page on the Kids and Sports website, and I also update the Kids and Sports app so you can listen to the last show on the Kids and Sports app. You can call the show from your cell phone with the Kids and Sports app. You can email me with the Kids and Sports app. Go to the Google Play Store and get your Kids and Sports app. Have you done that yet?
I have.
Okay.
I have.
You got it.
I got it.
Good. Some of the things we want to talk about today, and I see a big one. I went on a website last night. I went on Hey Bucket, which is a popular softball website. And one of the talks on there was exactly, I don't know if some of the people didn't listen to my show from a couple weeks ago, but one of the talks about was boycott all tryouts in August. Said tryouts are getting earlier and earlier every year. I just saw tryouts posted for the first week of August. And, what about giving these kids a break? And what did VJ Stanley say when we had him on the phone? These kids need a break. And yet here they go on that. So that's one of the things we're going to be doing. Do I have a caller there, Arvin? Is there somebody waiting for it? Okay, I've got a red light blinking, so I don't know if there is if I had somebody waiting there.
Now,
okay.
2 weeks ago, Coach Davis, you mentioned we had the team in the studio.
Yes.
And there was something you talked about that there was a time. Oh, that's what's going on here.
We did it. Yeah, our fault.
That was a unhung phone.
Okay.
You talked about that you couldn't even call the girls during that time.
That's high school. Yes.
Oh, that's high school.
That's there right now is our high school dead period. Now the way that works is the fall sports like football, tennis. I think it's girls tennis in the fall. I think it is, and boys in the spring. I get that mixed up. And what else? Volleyball. The girls' volleyball is a fall sport, so those sports can practice that. They took their dead period usually in July or something like that. Whatever you can arrange with CIF. Say, I'm going to take our dead period. But it has to be 1 month, 30 days or whatever. You have to take a dead period. All the other sports, August is usually it. Okay, that's sort of the designated dead period time. So I don't see the girls. I don't, I can talk to them. I mean, but I'm not calling us, hey, are you out there practicing?
Yeah, it's not business.
Right, no business then. No practices, nothing like that. Gives them a chance to rest. Now, if 2 or 3 of the girls decide they want to get together and go out and do some ball or something, that's on them. But coaches cannot have any contact with it. I can't tell them go practice or anything like that.
So the teams that you're talking about are what in terms of?
Well, this is more about travel ball. This is more about travel ball.
Travel, okay.
And this is where it gets. Because this is where this is a lot of what VJ Stanley was talking about, and this is where a lot of coaches are concerned, is because softball, for one, I guess basketball is following suit, volleyball, they're going year-round. Now, football doesn't really. Football is one that sort of doesn't, But I saw an excellent post, and I think it was along this line where, somebody mentioned, hey, the pros take time off, How long after the Super Bowl, how long after the NBA championships before they start playing again? They got some time off there.
Oh, they got months.
Now they actually start practicing, but I'm sure they're individually, because they're athletes, they probably take a little time off to rest, whatever they need. And then I'm sure they're doing some conditioning. When I start 6th period back in September with my girls, I don't even bring a softball out for the first month for the most part. Maybe one day at the end of September, but pretty much that whole first month is conditioning. Or we'll do some chalk talk. We'll say we do not do softball, because if I start the practices then
chalk talk, I like that.
Yeah, if I start the practices then by January, February, when they should be getting ready for season, they're already sort of said, man, we're just getting too old already.
They're burnt out.
Yeah, I mean you got some players that are just diehard and they can do it. They don't get burned out. But that's a very small percentage of the players. That's maybe 10% of the players at max. One or two on your team. Some of your elite teams, maybe they got to have. But even those players, I'm sorry, they need some rest. They may not want to admit it, especially younger kids. With this guy who's talking like 10, 11, 14-year-olds and stuff, that those kids especially need the break at that age. Their bones aren't developed necessarily, ligaments. All that's the body needs some time to rest. If you don't give it time to rest, I should have brought Dr. Coy in here this morning, because this is one of his things.
Yeah,
that's one of his. Dr. Coy and I wrote a book together, Healthy Kids in Sports, and I did sort of looking at it from the coach side. He looked at it from the medical side, or he's a chiropractor, but he's done a lot of medical work too. People, I guess there's an old reputation about chiropractors that, you can't trust them, this and that. That a lot of that goes back 50 years or whatever. Your chiropractors, I've heard it said that some of them go through as much or more training than a lot of doctors. So,
yeah, well, I think with chiropractors, we're learning now that there's a little bit of propaganda going on, because that was considered to be Eastern medicine versus Western medicine.
Yeah.
And the Western society had created this stigma of chiropractors. I saw a chiropractor for about 10 years, and I lost 85 pounds.
There you go.
And, I'm a sworn testament that chiropractic is necessary in the medical world.
I think, yeah, and I think if we're really concerned about our health, that'd be another thing that they should get together more. You will see it in some places, but I do think they should get. I heard somebody recently say, just getting adjusted is not a good thing, or why isn't it? I can feel the difference.
Oh, so can I.
I don't have to go like I used to. My first chiropractor I ever went to, I never went to a chiropractor before I moved to California. And the first guy I met was over in Southgate. I think his name was Dr. Rourke. A long retired. I don't know if he's still alive. I know he's going to move to Big Bear or something. But that was the first guy, just because I had done a lot of stuff in the soda business and everything else. And there were times, I was a little bit crooked and all this stuff. And he was a customer. I was working at a 7-Eleven. I came over here, no job, went to work at a Jack in the Box, went to work at a 7-Eleven, whatever I could grab till I get something better. And so I met him there, and he told me, so as long as there's bowling and golf, I'll have business. I'll have customers. So,
well, my chiropractor always mentioned about football.
Yeah.
Football was another one that they need a lot of adjustments, a lot of help with their.
Well, that was sort of the old days. Now we send them to Greg's Auto Body.
well, the way they hit nowadays, right?
I mean, they're hitting like cars now, and and that's another issue we talked about with the younger kids. I didn't play football. The doctor said no, and I'm glad he did. I was disappointed then. That was a long time ago. I was disappointed. I wanted to play football. I think every young boy at some point, because there's just something that us guys want to mix it up. And
well, in the Breakfast Club, where we were talking about nicknames,
yeah,
Coach Mike, I think we just made one for Greg. It's Dr. Greg.
Dr. Greg. No, that's too easy.
You don't like that one, huh?
No, we got a Dr. Crunch maybe or something like that.
Dr. Crunch.
We'd come up. We'll have to.
Let's see if he likes that one.
No, we got to quit talking about it until he sponsors the show. Get him.
Oh, there you go.
Getting all this free pub here. What are we going to do about that? But anyway, that's one of the subjects we'll be talking about today. We're going to go to a break here in a minute. But again, 855-969-7268 or 855-693-4897. Give us a call. And if you got another subject, today's wide open. What is your youth sports subject? What do you see? I'm going to talk another one. I got a poll up on my website about catcher's masks. The old day, the catchers threw the mask off for a pop foul, and now they're saying they don't need to do that anymore. That's another one that was getting some interesting play on Facebook the other day. Anyway, Coach Mike here with my co-host Alex Alanese, Kidz and Sports on the Rant Radio Network. We'll be back in just a minute.
Make your team look like pros with custom lineup cards. Whether you are a travel team, rec team, all-star team, or just some old guys playing slow pitch, we can make your team look a little better with some custom lineup cards. For the umpire, for the opponent, for the scorekeeper, for the dugout, no matter where your lineup card goes, you will look like a big league team with your team logo and name on top of your personalized lineup card. Just visit CustomLineupCards.com. With the best prices in town, you are sure to hit a home run with us. Visit CustomLineupCards.com and go pro.
We are the Three Guys Rant with Arvin, Mike, and Phil.
Coming to you on the Rant Radio Network every Monday from 6 to 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. You can call us at 855-69 3 Guys.
It's not the Three Guys. This is why you should turn in, because one has Tourette's. The other one's illiterate.
You really should listen in. You never know what's going to happen.
855-69 3 Guys. G-U-Y-S and the number 3, not the.
Faces for radio, voices for the deaf.
Look forward to talking to you.
Hey, I'm audio candy. I don't know about you guys.
What up, foodie freaks? It's Chef Bev Lazo with the Culinary Trend Show. Join me and my brigade every Thursday night from 8 to 9 p.m. where we will be cooking up some crazy stuff that will give you the appetite for discussion. It's all about the good food, good friends, and good times. Only here on RantRadioNetwork.com.
DM Narc Radio Show is now airing on the Rant Radio Network. You've heard the three guys Rant refer to us as the Clam Chowder Power Hour. Now we get to bring our New England humor over to Los Angeles. We'll be airing Friday at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 Eastern, and we'll cover everything from local to national politics and news. Guess what? We're uncensored too. I'm Dave. Join me and Nick Friday on the Rant Radio Network.
We're the Brothers Bear Podcast Live, and I'm your host, Sanj, and I'm always joined by
Edgar, Carlos Medrano, and this is a show where we talk about comics, movies, TV, video games, stand-up, music, and many more geeky things. Catch us live on Rant Radio Network on Mondays from 7:30 to 8:30 p.m.
That's another commercial in the bag.
It's the only way you get me on the top of a Google search. Put my name and Kidz in Sport, and I come right.
Wow, look at that.
No, if you put Mike Davis in, you're going to get the basketball coach that used to be at Indiana or whatever, and there's another Mike Davis. There's a lot of Mike. There used to be a Mike Davis in every pro sport at one time.
Well, Mike Davis is a common name.
Very common name. I used to get in trouble. Oh yeah, we're back. We are Kidz in Sports here. Coach Mike here, along with my guest Alex Alanese, the voice of reason for Kidz in Sports. Alex is a dad, and he's got kids that want to do sports, so that's something we got. He's very interested in. He's also a pretty good guy, so I let him come around, and he makes me better.
Well, thank you, Mike.
You do. It makes it a little more interesting. But no, when I was in high school, I used to get in trouble for a guy named Mike Davis. Yes. somebody's having too much fun today, aren't they?
Makes for a good show, you know.
Makes for a good show. No, when I was a freshman, I get called up to the truant officers. Mr. Wingo was his name. Got up to his office.
Truant officer.
Well, not principal. Whatever.
I think I heard that on the Little Rascals one time.
Well, no, but anyway, he says, "What's this about you beating on Mr. Lanz's window? And when he told you to stop, you sassed him back or cussed him out or whatever." I said, "Who's Mr. Lanz?" And he says, "Aren't you Mike Davis, Abe, something?" I said, "No, I'm K10177. Oh, I'm sorry. I go back to class, and then my junior year, I get called up for not paying my cap and gown fee. I said, I think I'm pretty smart, but I don't think I'm a year early here.
No,
it was the other guy.
K101. Is that
was my student ID number?
Oh, I see. Versus, I thought you were saying one of your classrooms.
Yeah, no, that was my student ID number. That's who you had back then. So, well, you still got it now. It's just different. But I finally ran into this guy that year, sometime after in the nurse's station. I was hurt or something, and I happened to go in there, was waiting, and he was there. And I thought, I'm getting tired of getting in trouble for you. I mean, I got called up 2 or 3 times over the years for him. Come on, get in trouble for yourself.
So you Google your name, you get a few of them. I thought I would only get a few because I have I thought I had a very unique name. But when I pulled my name up, there was like 150 Alex Alaneses, and I was like, you're kidding me.
No, check it out. If you just put Mike Davis in, you're going to get the, here's a writer activist. You got the, as good as a scholar. That guy's only 6 years older than me. Department of Creative Writing. That's a different one. Usually I don't get them. Maybe that's because we're here at the Rant Radio Towers. They're more educational. I don't know.
Well, that and we have to put in Coach Davis.
Well, no, but even I got that. Usually you get more of the coach, the Mike Davis, the coach basketball at Indiana, the guy that replaced Bobby Knight, if I remember correctly. And I would think he went to Texas Tech or vice versa. I don't follow college basketball as much, but anyway, that's it. So you can find that. Back to where we're going before the break. Yeah, one of the posts. Let me go back here and see if it wasn't on the bucket.
We were talking about,
or was it? Let me see.
Excuse me. We were talking about taking off the mask.
Taking off the mask
on a foul ball.
Catcher's helmet. Here's one.
Catcher's helmet.
And on pop-ups on or off.
Now I thought it was always because the catcher couldn't see where he was throwing the ball, or he would have better vision, so he'd take his mask off, his or her mask off, and be able to make the play.
Well, what they're saying, if there's no scoring threat, they can take it off. The old thing was you take it off, the proper way to do it. It wasn't just someone you'll say just throw it off, but then you don't know, they throw back and hit the umpire or something like that. The really, I guess, proper way used to be you'd take it off, but you still hold it in your hand. And that was one thing. There was a post I saw, and I think it was in a different discussion, because they're talking about the difference in the masks now. They say they're talking about, you got the masks were uncomfortable back then, but now they got these hockey masks. Some of the kids I've been coaching don't like the hockey masks either. They're too big and bulky. Because they are bigger. I mean, I don't know, soon we're going to see something about neck injuries for those things or something.
Now, are you talking about actual hockey masks, or are you talking about
the new
softball or catcher?
If you watch any of the baseball game, even pro base, some of the.
Well, I thought it was just maybe the design of it.
It's a design. It's like the goalie mask.
It's got the lid on the back, so it's easily on and off.
Yeah. Well, it's some. It's not easy. I had in the other post, one of my friends on Facebook had pointed me at a different discussion group on this subject, and one guy said something about he got when he was a kid, and this had to be a long time ago, when he was 10, 11, he took the mask off to look for a foul ball, and the batter, I guess for some reason, either took a practice swing early or for some reason somehow hit him with the bat. Now I don't know, to me I'm trying to think, how could that have happened? It seems sort of a fluky thing. I haven't.
Well, I've seen the bat fly out of somebody's hand.
Well, somebody go over. Yeah, no, he just said the kid was swinging around. So unless he reacted really quick, I think that would not happen very often. The main concern was if there was a play at the plate. Now you want the catcher to leave the helmet on, but before they used to take it off there too. But it was a visibility thing to see the ball coming and not lose it. But now they're saying because you got a kid sliding home with a helmet on, the runner usually has a helmet, and they're coming in, and they're, softball, you're not allowed to intentionally take the catcher out. You got to make it a clean slide. Unlike baseball, you can come in with your elbows up and everything.
Trying to make them drop the ball.
Make them drop the ball. You can't do that in softball.
You do
that in softball, you get ejected. But the idea is you could still have a headbutt there. So there's a possibility for concussion there. So there's an argument to leave the helmet on at that. I'm talking about just for pop fouls. To me, trying to look up with one of the masks on today, they might have more visibility than the old masks, but to me it's still a bit of a chore. I think it would still be better for them to be able to pull that off and when they see the ball, then they can drop the mask over to the side.
Well, I can see that why there would be some polarity in the two, because some are addressing injuries,
right.
The other are addressing the plays.
Right.
And are you saying that some of the new helmets now have better visibility, and maybe that's why they're considering the helmet on rule? They
say, well, it's not a rule. It's just about what coaches are teaching now. And,
okay. So it's more of a strategy.
Right.
Okay.
It's more what the coaches are teaching. It is a safety issue. Which brings up a good point. Do we need a rule for everything? I'm one that says no, we don't. We got too many rules. But part of the reason we need the rule, and not just in sports, but in our life in general, but part of the reason, I guess, at a point we need rules is that there's some people that don't care about rule. They are not considerate or not worried about saying, we'll do whatever they want to do. And so we need to pass rules. Where I get a problem is where we try to pass rules to protect from every little thing that's going to happen.
Yeah, protect us from that too.
Oh my goodness, yeah, that's. I wonder that's. I had a softball for my girls on their logo this year that wasn't that ugly. There's the old mask there.
Well, it looks like an umpire mask.
Well, the catcher sort of had the same thing. See, now they got the little deal on the side. They didn't have that before either. You know what those are? That's where they put the little mini cams now.
Oh, okay.
If you watch a pro ball game, they don't do it every time.
So there's an umpire.
But they'll pick some guys out with a practice. Now, how do you know that's an umpire? It could be a catcher.
I don't know. I'm thinking that's an ump. Okay, now there's a hockey mask you're talking about.
That's even an older one. The newer ones now are even fancier than that. That's actually, that one's still a little bit of an older style. Well, no, we're not quite that.
No, that's for motorcycle riding.
That's the old, I tell you how old I am. As I can't remember the guy's name, and I was talking about, and a number of people that were around in the 70s can remember it. You're getting closer, I think, but the first guy was with, and if I remember right, he was with the goalie for the Montreal Canadiens back in the 70s. Is the first one, or maybe it was even late 60s, to put on a mask. And he used to draw scars on the mask every time he got hit by a puck because he feared that his face was getting chewed up if he didn't have the mask on. And so he would, in hockey, you definitely, I don't know if a mask would be enough, but
well, I'll tell you what.
I think they say the puck goes about 130 miles an hour or something like that.
To tell you, the hockey goalies are some tough dudes, let me tell you.
But let's face it, the only way we're going to have, you want to fully protect your kids from the collisions and all that. The only way you're going to do is if we have some sort of force field that right before they hit, we turn it on, it's like a pillow or something. They bounce off. I don't know. We can't protect everything. But this is an interesting discussion we're getting into. 855-969-RANT. 7268 is the last four, 969-7268. Give us a call. And what do you want to talk about? What is your youth sports subject? Talking about leaving teams. When should you leave teams? When you should be worried about being on the elite teams, or, that's a whole issue. Daddy ball is a whole, everybody, daddy ball has a negative connotation out there.
What is daddy ball?
Daddy ball means where dad's coaching his own daughter, and whether his daughter deserves to be a starter or not. Often they are, or they might be in a primo position.
Yeah, but Coach Davis, isn't that always the case?
Somebody brought that. It was a couple of years ago I was talking at, and somebody said almost every team is daddy ball, or you wouldn't have, if you didn't have daddy ball, you wouldn't have coaches.
You wouldn't have a coach.
You wouldn't have coaches.
Because how many, I would almost think of that as being a little creepy. If there was a coach out there that didn't have a daughter on the team.
I don't.
You don't think that's creepy?
You think I'm creepy?
Well, no, I don't think it's creepy. What I'm saying is that
I know what you're saying.
I would be a little creepy. I've got 5 daughters.
It'd be creepy if,
just a little. I'm not saying fully creepy.
Somebody that didn't have any kids at all.
Well, okay, that's even creepier.
Maybe, but how do you know? Just somebody says, "I want to do some."
I knew of a coach that had a girls' softball team,
right?
That didn't have a daughter on a team, but she was on teams prior. Okay. So he was a coach.
He'd been there.
Yeah, he'd already been there. He'd already done it. Exactly. Yeah. So I don't think that's creepy. Now, like you said, if there's a coach that doesn't have daughters, I would think that's a little creepy. I know it's getting off subject, but I just wanted to.
No, that might be somebody wants to address. Without dads or moms, I mean, there's mommy ball too. It's usually just called daddy ball, but you wouldn't have it. And is it always wrong? Is it always wrong to have daddy ball? Is it always? It's a lot of times it's perception. And I've known teams where dad was the coach and the daughter deserved to be starting. And I've seen some of these players and out there, and what are you gonna complain about? Yet there's somebody will complain about daddy ball at that point.
I've found this though, Coach Mike, is that a lot of times the dad is actually coaching the daughter because she is very good.
A lot of times that happens too. Oh, geez. He must have got up earlier than us today.
Manny's on point this morning.
Coach Mike, Kidz and Sports, my co-host Alex Alaniz. We'll be back after these messages.
Make your team look like pros with custom lineup cards. Whether you are a travel team, rec team, all-star team, or just some old guys playing slow pitch, we can make your team look a little better with some custom lineup cards. For the umpire, for the opponent, for the scorekeeper, for the dugout, no matter where your lineup card goes, you will look like a big league team with your team logo and name on top of your personalized lineup card. Just visit CustomLineupCards.com. With the best prices in town, you are sure to hit a home run with us. Visit CustomLineupCards.com and go pro.
Ticketsurgeon.com. Reach us at 855-WIN-4-199.
Did you get caught speeding, texting while driving, or doing anything else you weren't supposed to do?
Give us a call. Don't miss work. Don't lose out on the money. Don't get any more points. What about your insurance? Let us fight for you. The Ticketsurgeon.com at 855-WIN-4-199.
Welcome to the Monster Marketing Group, your one-stop shop for all your marketing needs. Anything you need to make that marketing and advertising campaign stand out, we're your people. Concept, design, production, social media, anything that you can dream up, we're going to make happen for you. And we can do it in a very quick turnaround. Please give us a call at 888-49-MONSTER.
You open this segment. Let's see how good you are. Let's see if you've learned anything here, Alex.
Hello, I'm Coach Mike with Kidz in Sports. Give us a call here at the Rant Radio Network. Or should I say at the towers of the Rant Radio Network. Give us a call, 855-693-4897. I'm here with Coach Mike. I'm Alex Alanis, your co-host.
If you get a call now because your voice got that, I'm going to be disappointed.
We're expecting a call, so that's not fair.
No, we're hoping we get more than one call. I'm going to give $20 away if somebody calls that has a legitimate subject to talk about and a youth sports subject. And, let's get it on. Let's get it out. There's a lot of perspectives on some of these issues. And, there's a lot of gray area. I am sort of an old right or wrong guy for most things, but I also understand, I don't want to get politically incorrect, but there's more than one way to skin a cat, as we used to. That was my day, Now Peter would protest me or something for saying that. Now
I've got a cat.
You got a cat?
Yeah,
I used to have one. Noisy. You ever had a ragdoll cat?
I don't even know what that is.
I didn't either until we had one. Family at our church years ago was giving away cats. They had a litter of kitties or whatever, and so we took one of them. A really cute cat. He was fun. He was playful and. And he got lazier as time goes on, which is normal with cats, but he would never shut up. He would meow and meow and meow. He looked sort of Siamese. He was a black and white cat. And my wife found out from one of her coworkers told us that's a ragdoll cat, and they looked it up.
And what does that mean, ragdoll?
That's just the name or breed of the cat or whatever.
It's just the breed, okay.
Or whatever they call it. And this thing, that was one of their traits. The thing would not shut up. I mean, he had his moments, but there you go. So that looked a little bit like Sammy. So yeah, he would not.
Looks kind of pissed off.
What? Hey, this is a friendly show here. We don't need to talk like.
Oh, okay. Sorry. No profanity, please.
No profanity. No. If you get thrown out at the plate, and it shouldn't be. Another subject to get onto though is, even though it's dealing with pro sports right now, is the PEDs, the performance enhancing drugs. Baseball just fined or suspended a bunch of players. A-Rod's going to fight his, but even though that's not youth sports, it does have an effect, because how many teenagers are out there, and like I think VJ mentioned when we were talking a few weeks ago, that how many of the teenagers out there trying to use performance enhancing drugs because they want to get that scholar, they want to be bigger, stronger, and everything.
Well, how many teenagers don't know anything about it? And then their parents are introducing them to those things. Now
I'm sure that's happened quite a bit.
And that's scary.
That's scary. Yeah. When to me, it's more so. Again, I'm an old guy. I've never done drugs, and I don't say that to. Yep, he's the main one. I've never done drugs as far as that goes, and I don't say that to say I'm better than somebody that has. I know. It's harder and harder to find somebody that's never touched marijuana these days, which I sort of think is sad. And somebody will say, well, you do drink alcohol. Yeah, alcohol's legal, but you won't ever see me drunk.
Well, not for kids, it's not.
No, it's not for kids. And I try to set that example when I'm with the team and stuff. Once in a while, if we're out to a team dinner, like we were in Las Vegas for a big tournament, something like that, and we had a dinner late night or whatever, and with the parents are buying, I might have a beer or something with them. But you'll never see me drunk.
Yeah, well, what about the alternative, Mike?
What's that?
Well, I think it's hard work. We've talked about it on the show before. It's about discipline.
Yes.
It's about teaching our kids on a good diet. a good exercise regimen, you know, and we talked about maintaining their performance in terms of, you know, taking a break as well, you know. So oh, look, we got some of these. Now that's
you've been using those, Arvin? I tell you.
You know, this is a shot from the studio
now
here.
Now we know why we're getting all the extra. We're getting the enhancements now much better.
Yeah, but I think that, you know, the message that you gave out before and a couple of the other shows,
right?
The message that you were giving out before was the alternative to even needing these drugs,
right,
would be to enhance your performance with exercise and diet.
But I don't know anything about the pro level, the drug testing, as far as what they do or what their number. I know they have numbers. If you don't have a certain, jeez,
you guys are killing me today.
This guy is having way too much fun. I think he's definitely on something in there.
I got a funny story about our engineer. Because I punch insulin.
Okay,
because I'm diabetic.
So you can't play baseball, and
I probably could, but it'd be difficult for me. I'd be coughing up blood after about, you know, rounding first, you know. But I was with our engineer yesterday, and I was punching insulin. We were going to lunch, and he looked at me. He didn't know I was diabetic. He looked at me. I put the pen with the needle out, you know, it's got a cover on it. The needle's got. He didn't know that though, and I put it up, and he's like, "Oh, what are you doing?" And that's payback for stealing my material.
So see, when I had my hip replacement, I had to have a shot for after the recovery. It's sort of a anti-rejection thing or whatever. There's some little shot they gave me. And I couldn't give myself that shot. I'd be in trouble if I was diabetic. My wife had, and it didn't hurt. It was a little tiny needle. I can't. I'm not sticking myself with a needle.
Literally is probably not even an eighth of an inch and hair thin. So I don't even feel it. Well,
we're going to talk because like I said, we've already said we're going to talk. We're going to get you healthier.
Oh, no, for sure.
But no, that's because I feel sorry for diabetics. But let's look at it from the steroid concept. Now, I don't know where they draw the line as far as different drugs, but your asthmatics, what are they given to help their asthma is steroids. My cousins had that.
Oh, okay.
So now I'm sure there's some professional athletes that are asthmatics. Are they able to determine the difference in the level of steroids that they have that they need for their asthma? You know,
that's a medical question I don't have an answer for.
And like Andy Pettit said, when he came out and admitted he took the drug to get healthier, to get back, because what about that argument there? If the guys are taking it to recover for a brief period of time, I mean, there's a lot of drugs that people take on a Tylenol. You could say if you take too much too long, it's going to destroy your system. All drugs are meant to be taken for a brief period of time to help you recover from something. Now, I heard this morning that A-Rod apparently is the only one of these guys that is going to protest his suspension. And from the one argument that I heard, he has a bit of an argument.
Just a bit, yeah.
He has a bit of an argument because why is he getting suspended for 200 and some games and the other guys are only getting 50 games?
Well, and he's back on the lineup.
Yeah, but that's only because the way baseball works is and I guess all the pro sports is if they appeal, they have a right to appeal whatever punishment they're given, and until that appeal is ruled on, they can continue to play.
So
he's right now he's playing because he's protesting. Now, does he deserve a suspension? Obviously he does. But I think they're sending a message. Well, they're mad because he wouldn't confess. A lot of the other guys confessed, and he's still arguing that he didn't do it or whatever. And so they're trying to send him mad. They threatened him with a lifetime ban, but I think they would have had a hard time making that stick. But now when you look at that brings up the other thing. And again, we're getting a little off youth sports. But what about Pete Rose? Should he be allowed back into baseball?
In the Hall of Fame? Is he a Hall of Famer, Pete Rose?
No.
He wasn't allowed in, right?
He wasn't allowed in. Now, I'm sort of in between that. I say, maybe he shouldn't be allowed to coach because it was an ethical issue he's talking about, but should he not be allowed in the Hall of Fame? What he did had nothing to do with his performance on the field. How can you not have – his bat is in the Hall of Fame. His bat is in the Hall of Fame. So, in a way, he's there. I would say he should be allowed in the Hall of Fame from the standpoint that, he's the number one hitter in all of baseball. So from that standpoint, but that's different than do you allow him to coach a team or manage a team under an ethics issue? I don't know. I sort of think he's been punished quite a bit. Maybe it's time to.
Well, I'm kind of thinking something else here, Coach
Okay.
Mike. We should have a league of just people that take steroids or take these kind of drugs. Let's see what really happens.
Well, you
can't be in the league unless you're taking this stuff.
Unless you're taking it. Let's look at the reverse of that. I think it was 3 years ago when this really first started, when Clements and Pettit were first having their big argument. Clemens was testifying in Congress and all that stuff. There was a group of minor leaguers that filed. I think they went ahead and filed the lawsuit. I'll look it up at the next break and see if I can find it. But they actually were suing. I don't know how far it went, because they said, we did it the legal way. If they didn't take the steroids, maybe some of us would have made the bigs.
Oh,
that maybe some of those guys got there because they did the drugs.
The crybaby argument.
Is it? Or is it I mean,
I think they do have a point, but you know what? This is constitutional issues, I think, that we're talking about now.
How is that?
Well,
you have a right to do drugs. He
put some drugs up, some vials up there. They looked like they were FDA approved, right? So
well, they are. That's the thing. They are. A lot of these drugs are FDA approved, but they're for a purpose. And now you look what Lance Armstrong went through. That was a whole different. The blood doping. That's a really. I don't know if I could go through that to get to that level, to that kind of thing. I don't know if I could.
What about Lyle Alzado?
Oh, remember him? He was.
Yeah.
I was a big Orange Crush fan for a long time.
I couldn't stand the Raiders, but I love that game.
Well, I liked him when he was a Bronco.
Oh, okay, right on.
Yeah, he unfortunately disgraced himself and went to that other team. There's our buddy Lance. So, what do you do? Where do you draw the line as far as what they can have? And baseball has for their own problems because for so long they turned the other way.
Well, I was joking earlier, Coach Mike, about having a league of drugged up players.
You might see it started. I tell you what, you put a post and start it, and I'll bet you get some people that want to do it.
Well, it'd be the fantasy league,
especially if you provide the drugs.
Now I'm a drug pusher, like that.
Oh no, we're being a bit humorous today, but you got to admit, our teenagers especially that are trying to compete, and it sort of goes back to what VJ Stanley said when he was on the show, is there's some people that will do just about anything to get that athletic scholarship. And, they go through way more than they should, trying to get something that 1% of the kids get. And this is one of them. There's I'm sure, like you said, there's some kids where even the parents are saying, hey, if this will get you that scholarship, let's do it. And they don't stop to think about the long-term effects. And Lyle Alzado was the main one. They said that's probably what caused his heart attack, I guess, from what I understood.
Yeah, now he's an advocate against it.
Yeah.
So,
Coach Mike here, Kids in Sports, and my co-host Alex Alanese, and we'll be back.
Looking for a delicious, fresh family meal that's ready when you are and easy on your budget? Welcome to Piara Pizza. We make our pizzas with handmade dough, 100% real cheese, and tomato sauce blended with our own spices. Nothing is ever frozen. We always have large pepperoni and cheese pizzas fresh and waiting for you for only $5. Or choose one of our specialty pizzas. We have veggie, meat lovers, supreme, and Hawaiian. Add an order of our amazing hot wings, cheesy bread, or breadsticks. Our locations are ultra-modern, ultra-clean, and open 7 days a week. Visit any one of our locations today, or check us out on the web at www.piarapizza.com. Piara Pizza. Fresh, hot, and ready for you when you come in. Stop in for your Piara Pizza today.
We're the Brothers Bear Podcast Live, and I'm your host, Sanj, and I'm always joined by
Edgar, Carlos Medrano, and this is a show where we talk about comics, movies, TV, video games, stand-up, music, and many more geeky things. Catch us live on Rant Radio Network on Mondays from 7:30 to 8:30 p.m.
That's another commercial in the bag.
What up, foodie freaks? It's Chef Bev Lazo with the Culinary Trend Show. Join me and my brigade every Thursday night from 8 to 9 p.m. where we will be cooking up some crazy stuff that will give you the appetite for discussion. It's all about the good food, good friends, and good times. Only here on RantRadioNetwork.com.
DM Narc Radio Show is now airing on the Rant Radio Network. You've heard the three guys Rant refer to us as the Clam Chowder Power Hour. Now we get to bring our New England humor over to Los Angeles. We'll be airing Friday at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 Eastern, and we'll cover everything from local to national politics and news. Guess what? We're uncensored too. I'm Dave. Join me and Nick Friday on the Rant Radio Network.
3 balls, 2 strikes, the pitch. Swing it.
Make your team look like pros with custom lineup cards. Whether you are a travel team, rec team, all-star team, or just some old guys playing slow pitch, we can make your team look a little better with some custom lineup cards. For the umpire, for the opponent, for the scorekeeper, for the dugout, no matter where your lineup card goes, you will look like a big league team with your team logo and name on top of your personalized lineup card. Just visit CustomLineupCards.com. With the best prices in town, you are sure to hit a home run with us. Visit CustomLineupCards.com and go pro.
And we're back, Kids in Sports, with your host,
me,
Mike Davis.
Coach Mike, Kids in Sports. Coach Davis, Coach Mike.
Davis.
Show a little respect here. No, we're good. Coach Mike is here. Kids in Sports and the Rant Radio Network, our beautiful Rant Radio towers.
Show me some respect, boy.
As I looked it up over the break, it was a 2008 article, Life of Riley, an ESPN blogger, I guess, Rick Riley. And he said a lot of guys in the minors got hosed by steroids. They should sue. And he talks about a guy named Mitch Jones, biggest fish in the puddle, fastest snail on the beach, best understudy on Broadway, whatever. More home runs in the minor leagues, but he hasn't got a shot at the big leagues. And so they're saying that him and a bunch of these players should sue the Major League Baseball over the fact that, they did it clean. They did it legal. So I saw an answer to one of these, somebody that wrote in another blog somewhere and said that they would go for it in one condition, that somebody like Mitch Jones, for example, would have to prove that he was better than whatever player might have taken his position. He said, if you're going up against somebody like Gary Sheffield or somebody like that, you might have a hard time doing it.
Yeah, but when the stats tell you that?
Well, not just, the stats sort of.
They might be a little
but
skewed
we don't
because
know
of the steroids.
We don't know what the stats, right. We don't know what the stats would be because they're steroids.
Well, I have a question, Coach Mike.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sue who?
Well, they would say sue Major League Baseball.
Oh, okay. Sue the
it's the deep pockets. Are you going to go for? You're going to sue those players? Good luck.
Okay, well, let's talk about that for a second. I think that the league should have some quality control. If they're going to allow these people to be in the draft, right, they should be tested before they go in. I mean, I think that would be an easy way out of getting sued because it's quality control.
Well, and I would sort of bet they do that now. I don't know. Something to maybe look up for a future show. But, again, a lot of these guys had done it. It wasn't illegal in baseball. Either it was technically illegal and they turned it away. But I heard that actually the part of the problem is for years it wasn't even illegal. And then they suddenly decide, it was illegal in football, illegal in basketball. All of a sudden they go, we should make it illegal. I just looked up Mitch Jones here, born in 1977. Actually was a Sun Devil. Briefly, his senior year at ASU, posted 787 slugging percentage with 27 home runs, single season ASU record. Now that's sort of surprising because ASU's had some pretty good players. A few good home run hitters. One guy named Jackson, another guy named Monday. Worked through the Yankees minor league system. Made it to AAA, was signed to a minor league contract with the Dodgers prior to the start of 2007. So he's never, from what I can see here, he's never made it. Well, he appeared as a pinch hitter in 2009 against the Athletics. Struck out his first at bat. And next thing, he got first major league hit off A's reliever Brad Ziegler after 10 years in the minors. And he got a major league start against the Angels. And he appeared with 8 games with the Dodgers, primarily as a pinch hitter. Went for 4 for 13. That's not too shabby for somebody that hasn't been up there. And then he was sent back down to the minors. So that tells you right there.
And they're saying it's because some of the other players were on drugs.
Well, that's what Riley is arguing, that, if some of the other players that weren't taking the steroids, would they have still gotten the nod over this guy? I don't know at the pro level what a coach would look at. And I think that's, coming back to youth sports, I think that's one thing that parents actually struggle with on a smaller level. I've seen and talked to parents that don't realize that as their son or daughter moves up, the talent pool is stronger, especially because kids develop at different ages, Kids, especially in the case girls tend to develop earlier than guys do. But I've seen girls. I've started coaching. My daughter was an 8 and under, and there were some players there that were the dominant player. They were the superstars. Now there's one of those players that I know that actually played for ASU, that made it all the way, went to the College World Series with ASU and stuff. And there was another one that tried out at the junior college level, and then for whatever reason decided not to play. I think she might have played one season. In 8 and under, she was the dominant pitcher of the league. But as they move up, all of a sudden, there's a lot more players that are just as good as you are. And now you have to fight for your spot. And that's something that a lot of these parents struggle with, is, their kid was the star, which, of course, they loved it. Who wouldn't? You got to be proud of your kids,
course,
right? When they're and whether the parents overdid that adulation or whatever, we're all different. We all take it to different levels. But regardless, now all of a sudden, especially the ones that did overdo it, the ones that really, look at my kid, now all of a sudden they get up to 13, 14, 16s, and their kid is just another kid on the team. They might still be a good player. Doesn't mean they're not a good player, but now the other players have come up to their level.
Yeah, it just shows there's different levels as you improve.
Right. And so there was actually a case of 2 girls that were on my daughter's high school team. One of them, I think, was 1 year younger than Jessica, and she played. She was on JV most times. She made varsity or last year or whatever, maybe last 2 years, I forget, but was never a major starter or anything. She did okay. Then there was a new freshman coming in who had a lot of potential, could be a pretty good hitter and everything. And she started some games, but was not a regular starter. And the 2 moms are telling us towards the end of the season, they were talking about how when they both went were in the same rec league. Oh, yeah, back there, my daughter's able to hit this. You're not in that rec league anymore.
Well, memories,
Well, it's not just the memory, but there's a lack of realization. They didn't realize how much different the competition level now you move into high school. And that's where some rec leagues maybe, and some of them maybe don't care, because maybe some of them are all about the fun. I saw another discussion on the bucket there about, should I let my daughter wants to play on this team with her friends instead of the elite team, and I'm noticing a little bit of a drop in her play. She's 13 years old. Let her have some fun. Okay? When she gets to 14, step back up a little bit, have a discussion with her, see what she wants to do. If she wants to get serious about it, fine. But if not, let her play with her friends. What's wrong with that? We get some parents, my kid's got to be on this team. She's going to get that scholarship. Whoa.
Well, the different levels of play that you're talking about.
Right.
You know, if your kid's a superstar on their team, I think that sometimes even those superstars, they get complacent. You know, they get in their comfort zone, and then when they do move up a level and they realize, oh wow, now I got to work at it a little more. I think it keeps them alive. You know, it keeps them alive. If there wasn't those levels, then they definitely would get complacent. I know I would. There's
a level for everybody. My daughter, I think probably the most fun she had, for the most part, was on her second travel team, her 12 and under team, and she was the star team. It was a little bit lesser team than where she started, but the first team she started with, they had 7 pitchers, so she wasn't getting any pitching time. And so finally we found this team that needed a pitcher. Boy, they wanted her at 12 years old. That was probably a good move we made, because otherwise she would have gotten frustrated. Who knows? I don't know if she would have quit or not. You know, like we've talked about a number of times on the show, 70% of the kids quit by the time they're 13 years old. You know, some of those kids, maybe not the majority of them, obviously, but some of those kids are probably good enough maybe to have gotten to that scholarship level, but maybe the parents pushed them too hard, and the kids didn't have any fun, and they're sitting there, you know, I'm sorry, this isn't what I signed up for.
Yes.
You know, tell me a 10-year-old that goes out and says, I want that scholarship right now. You know,
they don't know anything about it.
They might say that because they heard it, but they don't know what it is.
Yeah, they have no idea.
They really don't have a clue.
Not until later on. I actually have a question, Coach Davis, about what we were talking about earlier. You know, we were talking about the lawsuit from the minor leagues. You know, you mentioned deep pockets.
Yes.
And I just wanted to mention that there may be another side to that, and it's principle. You know, they might be trying to show the league something in terms of principle, and not necessarily make it a financial or monetary lawsuit.
Well, you know, everybody says that when they sue somebody, but let's face it. I mean, let's face it.
I'm not saying they said it.
Yeah,
what I'm saying is that could be the other part of it. You know, they're creating a legal precedent.
Right.
You know,
right.
And you know, I have to thank Manny for throwing the money up on the screen there. But
I'm going to throw it in my pocket for it.
Yeah, there you go.
On the screen. Jiminy Christmas. But no, that's. We hear that sometimes a lot. Oh, jeez. We are having way too much fun in there. Now, this is the youth sports show, so be careful there. No, okay. I could have had to read the fine print.
That's a different sport. I think that's a different show altogether.
Okay, yeah. We're having too much fun. Well, you should be joining us for this fun. 855-969-7268. And, you know, somebody doesn't call, and I got to keep my money, which is cool.
Okay.
So,
you know, I can always step out.
I was going to say, I was waiting. I figured where's Alex the next segment? I don't know. He took off. We're down the street. Okay.
I can think of some good lunch places we can go, you know.
Are you buying?
No. You said if I call in on the show, we have a
not
topic.
You're.
Oh, I see.
You know, I got one of those clauses, employees of the Rant Radio Network or
you got
or
the
any
disclaimers
affiliates or
on
whatever.
There you go.
I wouldn't do that. So where do we go with it? How do we get the message back to the kids and the parents? And the parents, it's a divide issue, because I'm sure there's some parents that are telling their kids, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. And the kids maybe find a way to do it. You know, maybe there's that trainer.
Well, let me ask you a question.
Or that coach that says, oh, yeah, let's, you know.
Let me ask you a question.
Okay.
Is there testing in youth sports?
Not per se. There can be a high school sports. It can be tested if there is. I don't know what the exact guideline is if there's a suspicion. And I look back to one of the schools I was at. The JV team was practicing down the street at an elementary school, and I guess one day they decided to drink their lunch. Now, who came up with this idea? I don't know, but that's what they tried to do. They could have been tested there, but the walk-on didn't know. And I'll tell you more about that when we get back.
All right.
Coach Mike here, Kidz in Sports, the Rant Radio Network. We'll be back in a minute.
What up, foodie freaks? It's Chef Bev Lazo with the Culinary Trend Show. Join me and my brigade every Thursday night from 8 to 9 p.m. where we will be cooking up some crazy stuff that will give you the appetite for discussion. It's all about the good food, good friends, and good times. Only here on RantRadioNetwork.com.
We are the Three Guys Rant
with Arvin, Mike, and Phil.
Coming to you on the Rant Radio Network every Monday from 6 to 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. You can call us at 855-69-THE-3-GUYS.
It's not the Three Guys. This is why you should turn in, because one has Tourette's. The other one's illiterate.
You really should listen in. You never know what's going to happen.
855-69-3-GUYS. G-U-Y-S and the number 3, not the.
Faces for radio, voices for the deaf.
Look forward to talking to you.
Hey, I'm audio candy. I don't know about you guys.
TheTicketSurgeon.com. Reach us at 855-WIN-4-199.
Did you get caught speeding, texting while driving, or doing anything else you weren't supposed to do?
Give us a call. Don't miss work. Don't lose out on the money. Don't get any more points. What about your insurance? Let us fight for you. TheTicketSurgeon.com at 855-WIN-4-199.
3 balls, 2 strikes, the pitch.
Make your team look like pros with custom lineup cards. Whether you are a travel team, rec team, all-star team, or just some old guys playing slow pitch, we can make your team look a little better with some custom lineup cards. For the umpire, for the opponent, for the scorekeeper, for the dugout, no matter where your lineup card goes, you will look like a big league team with your team logo and name on top of your personalized lineup card. Just visit CustomLineupCards.com. With the best prices in town, you are sure to hit a home run with us. Visit CustomLineupCards.com and go pro.
We got 1 hour in the bank already, 1 hour to go. Coach Mike here, Kidz and Sports. My co-host, Alex Alanese. We're on the Rant Radio Network, Alex.
We are here at the Towers.
At the Towers. I was telling you before the break, I had a JV team that decided to drink their lunch one day. And the situation was this. They practiced away from the main campus. They practiced at a middle school down the street. They had a walk-on coach. The assistant coach was the teacher at the school, but she, for whatever reason, she didn't happen to be there that day. One of the players alerted the walk-on coach that some of the kids have been doing things they shouldn't at lunch. Some both drank and smoked their lunch, I guess, and some just drank their lunch. I jokingly said they were drinking vodka and Gatorade or something like that. I said, "You dummies, you mix rum with Gatorade, not vodka." But that's I know that I shouldn't be saying that, but. The walk-on didn't know what her right was or what she should have done. If the assistant had been there, she would have marched them up to the office immediately and got them tested, which apparently they have the right to do. But you were talking about at the break about, is there a protocol or somebody could cry discrimination? I think that you have to, if you're going to test, you have to test the whole team, I think.
Well, yeah, if you happen to notice, because you can't just indiscriminately just test everyone. Right. Because that's not the protocol right now for youth sports. But if you happen to notice that there's a player that you might suspect, you mentioned there's a protocol to have that one person tested where the parents can't yell discrimination.
Right. Well, and the discrimination can go either way. If you don't test everybody, then the parent of the one you tested is going to say, "Why didn't you test so-and-so?"
Well, if
you test everybody, the ones that, I've gone old school. I don't have anything to hide. Go ahead and test me. To me, I don't look at,
man of honor.
Well, it's not that. We have a lot of freedom in this country, and we like to hear a lot of people go, "I got the right for the." There's a lot of things they claim rights for that they don't have rights for, that are not rights, that are privileges. But I say with those rights and with the freedoms we have comes a responsibility. And the fact that we have so many people that choose not to take that responsibility, we have to have certain safeguards in place. And so there's a certain price to pay for those freedoms in that regard. And I'm looking at this one article by this Dr. Keith Abloh. Now, he's talking about drugs in general. The headline of the article says, should high school athletes be tested for drug use? He's looking at he's talking about heroin. This is a 2011 article, and that they're sniffing cleaning material. I mean, I don't know what it is. I've never understood this. Whether back in my day it was sniffing glue. What is it about people that they feel they got to do something to get a headache?
Well, that's the residual effect, Coach Mike.
Well, some of it isn't real. I mean, and you talk to some people that are drunk, and there's someone say, yeah, there was nothing to me. It affected me as a headache. But knowing what we know now, knowing the potential for dying on one, if you're somebody that hasn't taken drugs and you go to a party with your friends and all of a sudden some friend of yours from algebra class comes, hey, check this stuff out, man, it's cool. You don't know what that stuff's going to do to you. You don't know what he or she has in there. Just because they say it's, but we want to be popular, we want to go with the crowd. Oh, yeah, I'll do that and check it out. And how many kids died from an overdose and it was their first time of trying something?
Oh, yeah.
So why are we willing to take that risk? That just boggles my mind.
Well, I think with children, it's just being innocent and naive. They just don't know. They haven't received the message as strong as others.
Well, they don't want to hear it sometimes. It's an old saying that to a teenager, the stupidest people in the world are their parents, but as the kid gets older, the parents get smarter. There's one, it's sort of addressing what you talked about a minute ago as far as discriminating. The reason for selecting athletes to start is that, and he puts in parentheses to start, is that in anticipating opposition from groups like the ACLU, American Civil Liberties Union, I believe the case can be made that the potential for head injuries and other injuries in competitive sports argues that athletes comprise a special at-risk population. Athletes on drugs are athletes who can get badly hurt or hurt others. And especially in the case of steroids, if it's made that player a lot stronger. We have bat safety rules in baseball and softball. There's rules there of the manufacturer, and I know one of the bat manufacturers personally, and he's told me, I've invited him to come on the show. He would, even if he, at some point I hope he does, but even at that point he says there's going to be a lot of stuff he won't talk about because of proprietary secrets or whatever they do as far as how they make their bats. And I understand a lot of that, but there's also legal issues. He has to go through a bunch of stuff. You heard the old thing with the cars, that I don't know how it goes now, but in the old days, 60s and 70s, Ferrari, for example, would have to give two. Back then, they were cheap. They were like $30,000 or $40,000. But they would have
a lot of money back then.
Well, it was, and they would give 2 cars to the U.S. government for testing if they wanted them to be legal in the United States. They had to do that. And so I guess there were certain cars that some of the manufacturers overseas would choose not to bring over here to have tested because they know we're not going to do that. We have bat laws now, same kind of thing. We don't want the bat hitting the ball so at a certain degree off because of the damage that has happened to pitchers, to young pitchers.
I see.
So, and I know of one story a couple of years ago of one young lady here in Southern California, even though she had a mask on, some pitchers will wear a face mask, not like a catcher's mask, but they're somewhat smaller.
Like a guard.
It's like a guard. And she had one on and it still sort of caved in part of her head. She said she could still feel the ball got hit that hard. So,
wow.
Where do we draw the line? And it goes back to that kind of a thing. So now
it would kind of make sense, though, what you were talking about earlier is that if you're taking a performance enhancement drug, that
right.
you're more probable to get hurt. Not to mention
or to hurt somebody else.
The long-term effects of the drug, but you can hurt yourself or someone else because the enhancement has created almost like a numbness to that normal protection that we have, like a sense of protection that we have for ourselves.
There you go. And you mentioned Lyle Alzado, and I was a big fan of his when he was with the Broncos back in the 70s or early 80s, what it was. Professional football player, died in 1992. He played 15 seasons. Broncos, Cleveland Browns, and then finally went with the Raiders. So I don't know which was stupid lower, being Cleveland Brown or No, I shouldn't. But
he was a ball of fire. I know that.
Yeah, he was an amazing player. He died after a battle with brain cancer. He died at the age of 43.
Wow.
I thought it was a heart attack that finally, but there was a lot of argument that the steroids, put him in a bad position, ruined his health in that regard, and probably left him more susceptible. So I'm trying to go down the article and see.
Well, I saw him speak a couple of times, and he was definitely an advocate against it at that point.
Oh yeah, I know he was. Here is steroid use and death. Alzado, this is in Wikipedia. Alzado was one of the first major U.S. sports figures to admit to using anabolic steroids in the last years of his life as he battled against the brain tumor that eventually caused his death. Alzado asserted that his steroid abuse directly led to his fatal illness. According to some reports, Alzado was usually using natural growth hormone harvested from human corpses as opposed to synthetic growth hormones. However, shortly before his death, Alzado recounted his steroid abuse in an article in Sports Illustrated. Said he started taking anabolic steroids in 1969 and never stopped.
Wow.
It was addicting, mentally addicting. The movie, he says, we were not born to be 300 pounds or jump 30 feet. But he said he knew they were making him play better. And you got that rush. What was the movie? There's Friday Night Lights.
Friday Night Lights, a cortisone shot.
The one kid was taking, well, not just that. Wasn't it the one lineman taking steroids, or was it the other? Yeah, I think it was Friday Night Lights.
Well, it was Friday Night Lights, and there was another movie with Tom Cruise.
Every Given Sunday. Well, there was Every Given Sunday.
That's the one, okay.
Any Given Sunday. That was Tom Cruise, wasn't it? That was and Any Given Sunday was Pacino.
No. Any Given Sunday was Jamie Foxx and Pacino. Al Pacino.
But they had a guy in there that I think was all drugged up and steroids and was going bananas.
Yes. I'm trying to think of his name. I can't think of his name at the moment, but he is a professional football player.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I know there were some in there. We'll have to check that out. So, yeah, Alzado's one. So here with all we know, and we still have to we still got to keep putting the message out there. I guess we can't stop.
No, it has to be a constant message, definitely. Performance-enhancing drugs are bad for you, for lack of a better word.
Is it worth that rush? Well, okay, let's take the other side of that.
Yeah, that's the gentleman I was talking
You
about.
mentioned no, that's not the guy I was thinking of, though. I was thinking of the one guy that painted his face up in was it I don't remember if it was Friday Night Lights or Any Given Sunday. He was a middle linebacker or a defensive end or something. He painted his face up, and
I know who you're talking
you
about.
Know what I'm talking about.
I can't remember the movie though.
So, but anyway, let's take the other side of it. You said you played one season of baseball.
One season, yeah.
Was it high school or
no? It was I was in middle school, I think.
Okay, middle school. See, so that doesn't count. Well, yeah, that counts. But I mean, okay, let's say you went on to play in high school. Let's say you were a better player, and you had to compete for that position. Now you've gotten through. You were a star in middle school. Now you're in high school, and you're after battling for that position. And somebody's putting in your head, "Oh, I can get that scholarship." And somebody offers you some steroids.
I guess that might have been a possibility because I was young, impressionable, and my parents were actually paying a little more attention to my brother because he was the more fit of both of us.
Okay.
And my brother actually went on to play professional soccer.
Okay.
And maybe as a parent's choice, they made the right choice for him. I don't know. For me, it probably wasn't. I guess my muscle was more in my brain, right? So
that's why you're here,
and it shows.
Yeah, that's why you're here.
Yeah. So, but it's hard to say. I don't know that I would have. I could say right now, looking back, that I would have said no.
Now, what if? Let's take it another level. Now you got that college scholarship, and you got a chance to go pro. I'm gonna get your answer after the break. Coach Mike here, Kids in Sports on the Rant Radio Network. We'll be back in just a minute.
We are the Three Guys Guys Rant
with Arvin, Mike, and Phil.
Coming to you on the Rant Radio Network every Monday from 6 to 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. You can call us at 855-69-THE-3-GUYS.
It's not the three guys. This is why you should turn in, because one has Tourette's. The other one's illiterate.
You really should listen in. You never know what's going to happen.
855-69-3-GUYS. G-U-Y-S and the number 3, not the.
Faces for radio, voices for the deaf.
Look forward to talking to you.
Hey, I'm audio candy. I don't know about you guys.
What up, foodie freaks? It's Chef Bev Lazo with the Culinary Trend Show. Join me and my brigade every Thursday night from 8 to 9 p.m. where we will be cooking up some crazy stuff that will give you the appetite for discussion. It's all about the good food, good friends, and good times. Only here on rantradionetwork.com.
We got to get back to work here. Coach Mike, Kids and Sports, of the Rant Radio Network. On this half of this segment, this hour, I forgot to tell you, make sure for those of you that joined us lately, I forgot to tell you, go back and check the website, Coach Mike at kidsandsports.com. KIDZN is a Nancy sports.com, and that's my email. Kidsandsports.com is the website. You can sign up for my newsletter. You can also search Kids and Sports in the Google Play Store. Download the Kids and Sports app. You can listen to the previous week's show right there on your app. You can call the show using the app. You can email me using the app. By golly, you can use that app for all sorts of stuff. And I'm gonna
put up the Batman sign.
I haven't got that. I guess if the flashlight was powerful enough, we could add that in there. You know, I'm sure somebody would try, especially if you've been taking those steroids and it's been messing with your head.
I'll tell you what.
Now, before the break, we were talking just about that, about using the steroids. Let's go to the next level. We talked, okay, high school level, you said you probably wouldn't do it. Now you got that college scholarship, and now you got the opportunity to go pro. And now you're looking at, gee, if I can be that first-round draft pick, that's going to mean the difference of hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of dollars. Am I going to take that?
It's very tittillating.
Are you going to be tempted at that point?
Especially if I don't have the organization. We talked about the National League, the National Baseball League, not really having any real rules about it before,
right.
And it was kind of commonplace,
right?
You know, and it becomes now a character issue. You know, my upbringing, whether or not that is something that I want to, that road I want to go down, and potentially enhance my play with those kind of drugs.
And you know, by bringing that up, Alex, you brought something up that I'm wondering how many people think of this today, but how many parents do we have out there today? Because let's look at if let's say talk about drinking, since that's been around longer in that regard.
It's kind of the same issue.
It's sort of the same issue.
Yeah.
To a degree, drinking was legal. There's a difference to me in my mindset, and I sort of try to follow a biblical rule in that regard, is don't get drunk. There was obviously drinking, don't be drunk. Drunkards will not inherit the kingdom of God. There's a difference there. But I understand, because it also says, like, if you're offended by my drinking, I shouldn't be drinking in front of you, okay? But let's say the drinking, let's say you're my kid, and I don't want you to start drinking until you're at least 21. My grandpa used to give me a little shot glass of beer, me and my cousins, when we were 5, 6 years old. Yeah, that was pretty cool. My great-grandpa used to tell me don't stick my nose in a glass. Trevor, ever tried to drink without sticking your nose in the glass? Can't do it. But not very easy anyhow.
Try drinking without sticking
your nose in the glass.
Sticking your nose in. You'd have to do it sideways.
I'm starting to drink it, and Grandpa King would always tell us, don't stick your nose in the glass.
You can't. Yeah, you can't unless you have a straw or something.
Yeah.
Like
So anyway, you're my kid now. You're a teenager. You're 14, 15. Some of your friends are drinking or whatever. You want to drink, and I'm telling you, no, Alex, you got to wait till you're 18 or 21 or whatever it is. What's the first answer the kids usually come back with?
No big deal.
Or, Dad, you drink.
You drink. Yeah, they try to throw it on you.
They'll throw that back at you right now. how many parents do we have out there today that even if they think it's wrong now, they did drugs at some time, but they can't stand up to the guilt maybe, even though they're trying to not get, they know now that maybe they shouldn't have done that. They tell their kids, don't do, oh, but you did it, Mom, you did it, Dad.
But you know what? And let's go down this road because I've got 4 girls that live with me. Okay. And the way that I teach them, because I do get that answer, and even though they're small, 8, 9 years old, the smaller ones don't ever say that, but the older ones are starting to be a little more perceptive, and they will tell me that at times. What about you?
Right.
Hey, Papi, what about you? How come you get to do it? And it could be the slightest thing. How come I get to watch TV late at night and they don't? Type of thing. It's time to go to bed. The message that I give them is that I'm trying to teach them a certain level of respect, not just for me, but for themselves. And that's the message that I'm giving them. Show a little respect for yourself and understand that I'm telling you this for your own good.
There you go.
It has nothing to do with what I did in the past.
Right.
Because guess what? If I did that, maybe I was kind of dumb about it.
Right.
We
made mistakes.
I'm willing to accept that.
See, before, in the old day, we parents didn't want to admit we made mistakes.
Yeah, exactly.
Now let's go a step further. You also have a bunch of parents out there now that don't have a problem with their kid taking marijuana because they took it. They don't see anything wrong with it. Maybe they're still doing it.
Yeah, well, and there are parents out there, I think, that allow their children a certain level of freedom, and that's the way they look at it, as opposed to my approach, about helping them use self-respect. But I think that growing up with a lot of children that did smoke marijuana, I see those folks now, and actually they don't do that anymore because they realized that it was bad for them at some point. Maybe there was a few that fell through the cracks, but it was a learning experience for them. So, one could argue that type of parenting is also effective because the end result is that they realized it themselves.
The one that used to get me let's go back to drinking, which is legal for adults, but the one that used to get me was when you'd hear some of the guys say, oh, we're going to go out and get drunk tonight. And, my first thought is, what is fun about that? I've probably been drunk in my life half a dozen times, and none of them were intentional. I didn't sit there and say, I want to go get drunk tonight. The first time was because I didn't realize I'd been to the dentist and had a tooth pulled or something, and it was taking Darvon. And we went to we were at a family party. It's like
is it like codeine or something?
Well, it's a drug. I forget what the replacement is today, but back then that was the thing, the painkiller you'd take. And we went to a family party, and I'd like to have a vodka tonic now and then. I like that taste. And I think I had one of those little plastic cups, and all of a sudden the room just started spinning. And I went down. Well, our one friend of my aunt and uncle's was a nurse. And the first thing she did was say, are you taking any medication?
Oh, yeah.
I'm taking this Darvon, and if the dentist told me, I don't remember. I don't remember hearing him say anything about, you don't drink alcohol. And this, I learned that lesson real quick. But every other time I was drunk, and it's been a long time now, but it was usually just because I got so caught up, shooting pool or having a good. We were in the pool one time, and all of a sudden I'm, And one time I was shooting pool when I had my one store one night. I got off and worked. There was a bar next door, and I just like to shoot a little pool.
Well, that kind of reminds me too of something the way my dad taught me.
Okay.
Not to drink or smoke. Early on, I want to say I was maybe 13 or 14 years old because my parents used to smoke. I pulled one of my dad's cigarettes out and thought it was cool, So I pulled the cigarette out and I light it. I'll tell you what, the first puff was brutal. I mean, it's like
I could never inhale it.
It's like inhaling barbed wire. It's you know what I mean. It's crazy, and I'm thinking, why are you guys doing this? But my dad, he caught me right. I was there with my few cousins. I think we were all laughing about it, and he goes, "Hey, you want to smoke?" He thought I was. He was being serious with me. We were kidding around, but he was being serious with me now.
Right.
And again, to help protect me from smoking, he goes, I want you to light 5 of them. So he gave me 5 cigarettes, and he forced me to light them and inhale. And I'll tell you what, you didn't smoke after that? I didn't touch cigarettes for probably about 5 or 6 years after that. But now I became a smoker over time as an adult. But at that age, you know, it's more. It's almost like a playful thing. We see the adults doing it, and we kind of fall into that mold of wanting to be like our parents.
Now, what? Okay, you say you eventually started smoke. What made you go back and start eventually?
Well, I think that was more, you know, something social. It became something social. We were hanging out, you know, like I said, we're playing pool, we're doing that thing.
But it's still barbed wire. At least the beer tastes good.
No, at a certain point. Well, okay, so let's talk about that. You know, all of the cigarette companies, they sell like a starter cigarette. They sell the lights, and then they even have something called ultralights.
Right.
So you start smoking those ultralights, you know, it's like smoking air. It really is. And at a certain point, when the nicotine starts, you start needing the nicotine. It's very addicting. So you move up to the lights, and then from there you move to the reds.
They say it's more addicting than a lot of the regular drugs that we worry about.
Yeah, it is. It is, and you know what it is too is just the feel of having something in your hand and bringing it to your mouth. It's more just a bad habit.
Maybe that's why I do that instead of smoking.
I mean,
that's
could be
cheaper.
That could be. Now, there's something here at the station that I know that Three Guys Rant. They advertise as the Bursto flavor. It's the vapor.
The electric cigarette.
Yeah, the vapor. I haven't tried it yet, but I'm intrigued because I quit smoking. I quit smoking about 4 or 5 years ago.
You know, we laugh at movies like Minority Report or what's the other one I'm thinking of? Where they got some of these things. Well, the one with the RoboCops series. You know, the third one was ridiculous. It was a joke. I mean, that was one where the sequel should have been outlawed, maybe, but it was still. You know, you think about, you know, you put this drug in you just to get by, and I don't know how anybody affords to smoke anymore. I mean, when I was a kid, when I was in high school, cigarettes were like 50 cents a pack. So if you had a 10-pack a day habit, which was excessive.
10 packs?
Oh, yeah, there were people that have 10 packs a day habit.
That's like nonstop.
It's, you know, now I don't buy the reports on secondhand smoke, and there's another major talk shows that says, I heard him once say there is no report that directly attributes secondhand smoke to any death.
You ever been to a concert?
Well, no, worse than that. My first wife and my grandma, when they'd get together, because they got along really well, and we'd go over to grandma's and stuff. And after they'd been sitting having coffee for a little bit, the kitchen was in a fog, worse than you ever saw in L.A.
That's how it is in Mexico.
And I'd go walking through the kitchen and like, you know, I'm fine. I mean, to me, it didn't bother me. My dad was getting ready to get emphysema. The doctor said, you got beginning signs of emphysema. If you don't stop smoking now, you'll be dead in 2 years. My dad quit cold turkey like that. No patch, no nothing. He just said, good, okay, fine, I'll quit. That's it.
It wasn't that easy for me.
Coach Mike here with my co-host Alex Alanis, Kidz and Sports, the Rant Radio Network. We'll be back in just a minute.
Hey, bro, this is a good game. You know what would make it better?
What, bro?
A michelada.
A michelada? What's a michelada?
A michelada is somewhere in the middle of a Mexican Bloody Mary and a Mexican margarita.
Oh, I got you covered, bro.
You got a cup in your pocket?
No, sir. I got my pocket-sized michelada. Mucho macho michelada.
Pocket size?
Pocket size, so you can take it with you anywhere you go.
Where'd you get that at?
At the nearest convenience store, and you can also buy it at muchomachomichelada.com.
You know what will make it better? After we get drunk, if they had a line we could call.
We can call their drunk line. You can leave a message and then log on to the site and listen to your stupidity afterwards.
What's that number?
It's 855-MICHE-69.
What's that number again?
855-MICHE-69.
Awesome. Mucho Macho Michelada.
The
The experts know that for pastry, Baker's Bodega has it all. Exclusive brands like Westco Bankmark, Satin Ice, and Pastry Pride. One-on-one day seminars for cake decorating and gelatin art. So for our service, wide range of ingredients and supplies, and for the low prices, Baker's Bodega has it all. But you don't need to be an expert. Baker's Bodega, 7869 Paramount Boulevard in Pico Rivera. Come, we're waiting for you.
Theticketsurgeon.com. Reach us at 855-WIN-4-199.
Did you get caught speeding, texting while driving, or doing anything else you weren't supposed to do?
Give us a call. Don't miss work. Don't lose out on the money. Don't get any more points. What about your insurance? Let us fight for you. Theticketsurgeon.com at 855-WIN-4-199.
Welcome to the Monster Marketing Group, your one-stop shop for all your marketing needs. Anything you need to make that marketing and advertising campaign stand out, we're your people. Concepts, design, production, social media, anything that you can dream up, we're going to make happen for you. And we can do it in a very quick turnaround. Please give us a call at 888-49-MONSTER.
Coach Mike here. Kids and Sports at the Rant Radio Network. Thanks for joining me. By the way, if you like this show, which I'm assuming you must if you're listening to me or checking out the podcasts later. I call it a podcast, really, I guess the YouTube cast or on my archive page. Help keep me going here. Got to pay for this airtime. You know, I wish it was all for free, but unfortunately, like youth sports, is not. So I need some good sponsors. If you want to reach the audience of youth sports coaches, parents, and the kids, by golly, give me a call, give me an email, and let's get you on here as a sponsor. I'd love to have you on here. Plus, the guys here at the Rant Radio Network, you'll be on other shows too, and they do a lot of neat marketing things too. So give me a call, give me an email. Let's get together and promote your business. That's what I like to promote people's business. Everything I do to support my coaching habit is about promoting business. I do web design. I do some email marketing stuff. I like to promote business. I want to see people succeed. Even you, Alex.
It's not what you know, it's who you know.
That's right. That's right. We were talking before, and we've gotten a little off the track of youth sports, but it's still very applicable, very important for our kids. We're talking about the drug use with the major league bands going. We're talking about the smoking. I mean, it starts as simple as that. You know, a 10-year-old kid doesn't just suddenly go grab some marijuana and so usually it starts with cigarettes. They say moves forward. Drinking may lead to whatever we got to do. We got to understand what it's about and what the goods and bads for it, and what you should do, what you shouldn't do. My uncle I lived high school years. I lived with my uncle. My mom died when I was 10. Lived with my aunt and uncle through high school years. You know, my uncle was always good at saying, you do as I say, not as I do. And a lot of people think that's hypocritical, but I don't think it, like you mentioned before, we've got some habits at our older ages, or we've done some things over the time that we learned maybe we shouldn't have done.
Yeah, it wasn't as important. When we were younger, some of those things weren't as important, but as we get older, we start to, science tells us a lot more as we get older. You know, I've watched a lot of things on Discovery Channel that I never saw as a kid, and I didn't know any of that stuff. So it's hindsight's 20/20.
That's right.
We're looking at our children now, and we're trying to make them better than us.
That's right. Texting while driving, there's a big one.
Oh,
there's a big one. And I get very irritated when I see people texting while driving. One of my coworkers, I'm working an evening job, and one of my coworkers one night we pulled out, and she caught up to me and was passing me, and she's driving down the road, and I had to follow her about a mile before I got on the freeway. And she's got her phone up here. Now, she had it up here. At least it wasn't down the console. But she's got up here sort of texting the driver the whole way. And the next time I saw her working, I says, if you want to call me dad or tell me to shut up, that's fine. I'm sorry, but, I care. I like you. She's a nice lady. I had to work with her the one day. And I said, I want to see you live longer. And that texting while you're driving is got to be, in my mind, one of the stupidest things to do, because you might as well put a blindfold on and drive down the road.
Well, they said if you're doing 40 miles an hour,
that's 40 feet a second,
and you're texting, you're actually driving the length of a football field in 5 seconds.
Oh, quicker than that. Well, it's 40 feet a second. Yeah. So I get 100 yards, something like it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, that's just a stat that I heard.
But you're only 20 feet behind a car in front of you a lot of times,
or less,
So you don't need 5 seconds.
Less if you're my wife. I'm always telling her, "Could you please not tailgate?" You know.
I get a little bugged about tailgating more nowadays because I've been rear-ended twice. Both times on the freeway, and the first one. The lady was talking to her son. Turned out she had a Toyota 4Runner, and I was stopped in the fast lane. Traffic was stopped. The other lanes are moving a little bit slow, and I look in my mirror and I see her coming, and she's like this, driving silently. For those of you that watching the audio cam here, she's looking at her son over in the passenger seat driving down the road, and I knew I was going to get hit, and boom, she hit me good.
Well, the funny thing, Mike, is that you have a phone in your hand.
Yes.
Why aren't you just talking?
I've got to answer. Why do people insist on breaking the law? They know it's a law. They know it's an expensive ticket. It's $25, $30, $40 if you want a really good one. I got a full headset. I don't like those little things that go in my ear. I went on eBay. I got a full headset that I love. It's very comfortable, just like these earphones, and it's much clearer. What is so hard about doing that? Why do people?
That's what I'm talking about.
You see people all the. I mean, I take it back. Some people I think can do this. You might be distracted a little bit. I could drive that way if I need to. I know my number one thing. I'll miss part of the phone call before I'll miss what's out there.
Well, exactly.
Okay, but to do this, you have to look at the phone. And I was selling some software to help stop that fraud, but I had parents who were afraid of being their kids. They didn't want their kids saying they were spying on them. They wanted to be their kid's friend, not their parent. And I heard a story not too long ago on one of the radio shows. A young lady was killed, 16 years old, just got her driver's license, made a left turn in front of a semi, and what they find on her, I'm surprised her phone was still in one piece, but she had just sent a text message, or there was a text message on her phone at the time of the accident.
There was also a train accident of, I think, a conductor texting.
Yeah, I heard there was another one. That one... Because there was one a few years ago.
It was a few years back, yeah.
But there was just another. But that wasn't that in overseas somewhere, or was it?
I thought it was out of state, but
I saw a preview. Yeah, I saw a little bit, and they say he went around the curve too fast. And
what is wrong with people?
You got it. Well, and especially there, you're driving, you're controlling a train. Those guys make some pretty good bucks.
Well, and they're
you're gonna lose your
that's what
job
they're
and
called
your
engineers life? For a reason, you know.
Gee, I mean, I'm sorry, I don't get it. It's just like years ago I was went to get a job with one of the major soda companies, okay? And started with a C, red, number one logo in the world, or one of the number ones. But the guy, I was going to get a night job resetting shelves, and the guy found out I had a Class A license. Said, wouldn't you rather drive? You're going to make more money. And I said, well, I've got a business I'm trying to start in the daytime, but what the heck, it's not that busy. I'll go ahead and do it. And he told me then, this is back in about 86, that about 50% of the people, they had come in applying for a driver's job with a Class A license. And back then, I think it was about $10 an hour. I don't know, it's significantly more now, but you could get a lot of overtime. And 50% of the people applying with a Class A license failed the drug test.
Oh, wow.
Failed the drug test. So, are we telling you how to raise your kids, parents? Yes, we are. But you know what? It's because we care about your kids. I know you care about your kids, but we all have different parenting styles, but I do think some parents get worried, number one, about being their kid's friend instead of their parent. You are, God gave you a job to do. That's why I look. When he blessed us with the kids, we've got a job to do, and that job is to help them get through life and to be educated enough, not just school education, but life education, to move forward into the world. and be able to survive on their own. So are we doing that? Are we doing that as a parent? And there's some parents where they obviously aren't.
Yeah, it's a responsibility.
You
get their responsibility and self-respect.
We talk about a lot of things on the show, and it seems like a good portion of it has to do with the safety of our kids, whether it's taking off your catcher's helmet, whether it's wearing helmets, whether it's how you slide, if you're playing baseball or softball, diving back into a bag. We say you look away from the balls coming from the catcher, you look to the outfield. So you dive back in, don't be looking at the catcher,
Or if you're suing the major league.
If you're suing the major leagues. I tell you, it gets pretty crazy. What else we got going on out there?
I wanted to mention where I was this weekend.
Okay,
Coach Davis. You're always bagging on me in terms of soccer every time we talk about soccer.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
that deserves it. Yeah, okay.
You have this little soft spot for soccer in your heart, and I just wanted to point this out.
Okay.
I went to the zoo this weekend. I took my daughters to the zoo.
There's a soccer game at the zoo?
No.
Oh,
no. We're pulling up in the parking lot, and there's a sign, and there's probably, I want to say maybe 10 different things that says, prohibited use. No smoking, no drinking, no picnicking. I mean, whatever it said.
We don't want those elephants to get secondhand smoke.
Closer. Well, there's a park right outside of the zoo.
Okay.
And so we're pulling up there, and I'm reading this sign, and closer to the bottom it says no playing soccer.
No.
And I was like, what? But my knee jerk reaction was, man, Coach Mike would love this sign.
You should have taken a picture.
I should have taken a picture. Well, we were moving. People were honking and stuff.
Oh, you should have got a picture of that. That's great.
I probably will go back and take a picture just for that reason. My knee jerk reaction was, hey, Coach Mike will love this sign. But then I started thinking about it. I started thinking, there's got to be people wanting to play soccer here in order for them to put that up there.
Was it so no play? Was that? So I'm assuming it meant for the park next to the zoo.
Yeah. Well, there's a golf course there, and then there's a park, but it said no playing soccer. And I was thinking to myself, that just means that there's more soccer players than there is anything else.
That might be. It didn't say now playing softball, right? So I could go there and play softball.
Or poker or anything
or
like
maybe
that.
It means that soccer players are more, though that group is more inconsiderate about other people at the park.
Come now. See, there you go again.
Well, let's face it. Okay, let's take it. We used to jokingly refer to AYSO as the cult because it for a long time there, you don't hear as much lately anymore, but for a while it seemed like they were taking over everything. They were taking over, all sorts of parks, all of a sudden they're taking over. So, yeah, it's a rapidly growing sport, but it was like there's this lack of consideration. And the one that I'll tell you once that irritated me, this goes back a ways, when my daughter was in ponytail, way back when, I got 39 seconds. Okay. There was the winter ball. Well, the winter ball, we had to share the field with the soccer. The soccer parents, there was like an 8 and under team, little kids, 8 and 10 and under maybe. They would bring their kids right up to the edge of the dirt with their practices. Plenty of other field space.
On the softball field?
They would bring it right up as close as they dared.
They're in your outfield.
They're in our outfield. And we had to share that with them. But we also said, look, these kids are going to miss the ball sometimes. If you're going to do that, then you better park a parent there to help protect those kids.
You would think there's enough park space out
there. No, and I'm sure there's been inconsiderate softball parents too at times, but for a while there it seemed like soccer went too far. Coach Mike, Kidz and Sports, Rant Radio Network. We'll be back after these messages.
We're the Brothers Bear Podcast Live, and I'm your host, Sanj, and I'm always joined by
Edgar, Carlos Medrano, and this is a show where we talk about comics, movies, TV, video games, stand-up, music, and many more geeky things.
Catch us live on Rant Radio Network on Mondays from 7:30 to 8:30 p.m. That's another commercial in the bag.
What up, foodie freaks? It's Chef Bev Lazo with the Culinary Trend Show. Join me and my brigade every Thursday night from 8 to 9 p.m. where we will be cooking up some crazy stuff that will give you the appetite for discussion. It's all about the good food, good friends, and good times. Only here on RantRadioNetwork.com.
DM Narc Radio Show is now airing on the Rant Radio Network. You've heard the three guys Rant refer to us as the Clam Chowder Power Hour. Now we get to bring our New England humor over to Los Angeles. We'll be airing Friday at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 Eastern, and we'll cover everything from local to national politics and news. Guess what? We're uncensored too. I'm Dave. Join me and Nick Friday on the Rant Radio Network.
3 balls, 2 strikes, the pitch. Swing it
Make your team look like pros with custom lineup cards. Whether you are a travel team, rec team, all-star team, or just some old guys playing slow pitch, we can make your team look a little better with some custom lineup cards. For the umpire, for the opponent, for the scorekeeper, for the dugout, no matter where your lineup card goes, you will look like a big league team with your team logo and name on top of your personalized lineup card. Just visit CustomLineupCards.com. With the best prices in town, you are sure to hit a home run with us. Visit CustomLineupCards.com and go pro.
Ghosts. We've got ghosts. Coach Mike here. I am not a ghost, I don't think. And I'm right here at the Rant Radio Network's Kids and Sports with my co-host Alex Alanis.
Here I am.
Alex, you know, when we're talking about this, it goes even further. I see it at the high school. I've got kids that will, we're doing 6-period softball. And I get kids maybe that don't have a 6 periods. They're leaving, so they like the school I'm at. They like to cut a hole in this back fence or whatever and shortcut instead of walking around the campus or whatever. And we'll have kids headsets on or their face buried in their cell phone or whatever, walking, and they'll walk. We'll be doing live pitching or batting practice with a machine or whatever, and they'll be walking right across the outfield. And the girls will stand there. You know, once we get in season, we've got a fence we'll have up. But when they're not in season, they'll just walk around. They don't even bother. They say, do you see us hitting the ball here?
Anybody ever get hit?
Close, a couple times. And it's just why are they not? I guess it goes back to that thing we're teaching everybody thinks they have a right to do whatever they want now, and we don't. There needs to be some civility. There needs to be some consideration. We see it if you go near any high school. The kids crossing at the signals. They do this chain crossing. I think we talked about it on one of the earlier shows. I don't know if you were here that time, but that drives me bananas. They've already seen 50 kids go across. The hand is starting to blink. The red hand is starting to blink, and they're talking to their son. They just keep walking across, and so the cars don't get a chance to go. And yet, where it really gets batty, and this is why there needs to be some consideration, is there's a sign there that says, no right on red when children are present. So once that light turns red, I'm not supposed to make my right turn there, but I can't make it now because these kids are chain crossing in front of me.
Yeah, not in front of you anyway, even though you have the green light.
So, let's show some consideration in our young people. Some of them are very considerate. I've had a lot of respect for most of the kids, and so I'm not saying they're bad kids. I think nobody tells them, hey, if you're midway there, don't cross. Wait till the next time. What's your hurry? We want them all. We're gonna be hurt.
Well, I think they're told, Mike. I really do. I think they're told. They just don't care.
And there's some of those I agree. But I wonder how many are not. I wonder how many haven't even. Because every now and then I'll see people younger than me today, which a lot of people now. I don't admit I'm that old. I don't look that old, so I'm pretty darn good looking for my age.
You mean there's people younger than you?
Most people would not guess how old I am, except they say, now and then. But I'll be talking.
55.
Nope.
Older?
Yeah, I told you how old I am?
50.
I'm 60.
You're 60 years old?
I'm 60 years old.
You don't look a day over 59.
You have those applications for the co-host
you get the pink slip ready for
I'm not paying you this week. But I talk to younger people about it, and I get along with younger people fine in that regard, but I talk to them, and there's things that I will say, this, or that, and I go, oh, nobody's ever told me that. I never thought about that. And
yeah, but really, they don't know that they're crossing on a red light?
Well, it's not red yet. See, it's getting there.
You know, my
show me some respect, boy.
You know, my 3-year-old could tell you that.
Really?
Yeah.
Would that mean to your 3-year-old? No.
Well, she's a ball of fire, that one. But I'll tell her often about those kind of things, and she can tell you. But it becomes more of a choice for them.
Well, that's true. How many of them will walk right in front of a car in the parking lot? You're coming along slowly, and all of them, like, I got to drive out a little driveway, and there's someone will be walking down the chain, walking across, 5 across, walking down the driveway, and no consideration that that's also where the cars are coming to get out. So you got to crawl along, which you're doing that for safety purposes anyhow. But it's like there's times I actually have to stop and wait a minute, and one of their friends say, hey, there's a car coming. Oh, and they'll get out of the way. And they don't stop to think. They're like in their own little world, like this is the only thing on there. And I think there's just not. When I was a kid, I think there was more instruction, if you will, or more instruction. We were just told more often, here's how you do the little thing. I don't think maybe today we don't worry about the little things as much anymore.
Well, I think the problem with the whole crosswalk thing is that kids have been told that they have the right of way.
Well, that's...
And so they use that as like a power. Oh, well, look, I have the right of way. You don't have the
right. I'm going to sue you.
I'm going to sue. You know what I mean? You get this whole attitude. They forget that we should be respectful. Respect your neighbors. Theory. Try to understand that if you're in the car, that you really have the power. Maybe the law's in the way, but if you get hit by a car, that's
well, no, you have
where's the law?
What we always said is you might have the right of way, but you might be right, but you're going to be dead right.
Well, exactly.
Who's going to win that argument? Just like crossing the train tracks. I haven't seen any car win an argument with a train yet.
Well, exactly.
Not once. So we got to think about that. We don't. There's a convenience market around the corner from the school. And every night I run into one of the other coaches there when we're on our way in or whatever. And there was an 8th grader that was going to the middle school that literally challenged this guy to a fight. Right there. The kid was a smart aleck. Apparently the coach had a run-in with him before. And he didn't even go to the high school yet. He just right there. And he'd be very inconsiderate, just barging through the door, brings a skateboard or whatever. But he would actually he'd walk 50 feet away, but then he would challenge the coach to fight. This coach is a big Samoan guy. He's shorter than me, but I wouldn't want to meet him in any dark alley or any alley with lights for that matter. And this kid, cussing at him, and then me too. And he'd tell him, "Come on over here if you want to." He said, "I don't care if you're 18 now. You've initiated it. Come on over." I mean, he had to, come on over. And the kid, of course, wouldn't come anywhere close to him. I think he said the kid finally got picked up for something, but it amazes me the disrespect of some young people, and luckily a minority in that regard. But it's just amazing the disrespect there that and there is a certain percentage of it, whether it's crossing across or somebody told them they have the right of way, so go ahead and hit me. You're gonna, we'll sue you. Well, your family might sue me, but.
You're kind of touching on something here, Coach Mike. One of the things that I like to teach my girls, and the reason why I want to get them in sports, is because if they're not in some kind of organized a sport or some kind of discipline, if you will, whether it be music or whether it be strategy, like let's say chess, okay? I think that kids, they get these attitudes because they're not in those things. You know what I mean? I really do think that. I believe that strongly, because when you're on a team, you have that team mentality, and then you start to respect your elders a little more. You
respect your teammates more too.
You're respecting your teammates, and that's where you're learning it. I think. I mean, would you agree with that?
I look and see that on so many things. Let's take a big example. that our schools have to deal with now is the younger people, or the playgrounds at the schools. And our church school where I go to church had to deal with this. And this goes back a little bit to my rant about too many laws and stuff like that. We want to protect our kids from everything. We don't want them to have to experience pain or hurt or anything or loss or anything like that. So now these schools have to make a playground that's literally out of. Next thing I know, it's going to be water or sponge or something. You know, I mean, we had monkey bars when we were kids, and if you fell off the monkey bar wrong and you broke your arm, your parents took you to the hospital. You get your arm in a cast, and you either learned how to balance yourself better on those monkey bars, or you didn't go on them. Okay, and now we want to pretend, well, they have a right to go on those monkey bars. So
we were talking about this last night. You know what you don't see in playgrounds anymore? The teeter-totter. You don't see those anymore.
You see some, but yeah, they're.
I haven't seen any.
Really?
Yeah, well, I take my girls a lot to.
Because somebody probably got their foot under it.
Well, the reason I said that, we were watching Ridiculousness last night on MTV, and there was a guy that ran up, and he hit his face on the teeter-totter.
What?
Yeah, because if you're on a teeter-totter with another person and you jump off, right, the other person is going to fall to the ground very fast. Well, what happens to the other side of the teeter-totter? It shoots up, and it hit him right in the face.
Well, no. The other thing we used to do, what you do is you jump off and let that other kid hit the bottom. You know.
Well, we have to move out of the way, though. This guy didn't. He hit him right in the face.
Oh, so he was trying to mess up the other one, and
he actually saved the other guy from hitting hard because he hit him in the face.
Oh,
his face stopped the fall.
Trying to find an example here. If I can find this article from a few years ago, there was a 15-year-old that sued. New York injury law, 2009. Queens softball coach sued by 15-year-old slider. And let's see if I can get if this is the right article. 15-year-old is suing the city of Queens. This is in 2009, alleging that she busted her ankle due to her coach's negligence. The coach of this high school never taught her how to slide. The suit was filed in Queens Supreme Court, et cetera, had 6 screws put in a metal plate to fuse her ankle, which she broke as she slid on a muddy base during practice. She slid on a muddy base. Okay, the coach failed to instruct the girls how to slide properly. He let older players teach the new ones how to slide. So let's look at a couple of things here that I saw. As fast as
we're coming up on a minute, 2 minutes.
Are we?
Yeah.
Only 1 minute left. Well, let's take one of them. One of them, how is she 15 years old on a high school team and doesn't know how to slide to begin with, playing softball?
What's the lawsuit purporting?
Saying that the coach was negligent and not instructed her to slide. One of the things he says he let older players teach them. I do that all the time. I can't show the kids how to slide. I can't show them how to slide.
Yeah.
No. I have the other kids just do it. We have a slider.
Should be on the team.
Well, that's how did she get on the team in the first place? I mean, if you look down this article, there's so many cases, so many parts of it that just amaze you. So
we got a call on one, but I think we're up on time.
We're going to take a break, so we'll get that call first thing after the break. Oh. No, we're no break. Take the call. Where's the call? Let's see what we got. We got a caller today. Who do we got there? Hello.
Hello, gentlemen.
Yeah.
I just have a quick question. I know you guys were talking about the whole doping issue with Alex Rodriguez and all the other stuff, but what's the history behind that? When did it all just happen to come into play that now, all these sports personalities and people are wanting to do the drugs?
Well, they've been doing it for quite a while. There, I'm getting feedback.
Yeah, we're getting a little bit of feedback here.
They've been doing it for quite a while. Where it came into big time, I think, was in the mid-'80s, and I'd have to take a look on that. That all of a sudden, that's when it came out. In the early 80s or mid-'80s, they were saying that there was no baseball really didn't have a rule. I have to look back when they actually put it in, and so they didn't actually have a ban on it, even though football and basketball did. And so that's one of the arguments that went back. Now they've got it, But you'll see a lot of articles where people sort of say, baseball, you asked for this because you chose to ignore it for so long.
I get it. Okay, great. Thank you very much. Great show, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There's another one of those things we get to that it was ignored. We ignore the rules. We try to push the envelope to see what we can get away with, even though we might be bad. And then, all of a sudden it bites us, in certain part of our posterior.
We can't be perfect on some things, but I think that's common sense.
Yes, there is some. Going back here, we look at this with this gal. It looks like they got the ambulance chasers out there, as they say. It's not out of the question that a charge of endangering the welfare of a child could come into play in this case. Now, here's the statement, and I remember reading this. It really drove me crazy. This is the girl that broke her ankle. She is currently undergoing physical therapy, but this girl who has been playing since she was 7 was bummed out about not being able to make the playoffs. If she's been playing softball since she was 7 years old, why is it she doesn't know how to slide?
Well, that would be, I think, the opposing argument.
I mean, that's the first thing I would say.
In their defense, in the coach's defense.
I can tell you how a 12 or 13-year-old would do that because I actually had that happen. When I was coaching my daughter's 12 and under team, the last year before we went to travel ball, we had this one girl on the team that said she did not know how to bunt and she did not know how to slide. And the reason was she was the big home run hitter up to that point.
Oh.
And remember I talked earlier about kids developing at different ages. And I told her, I told every kid on the team, you are going to learn how to bunt on this team. You are going to learn how to slide because my job as the coach is to teach you how to play softball, not just to win the league. I'll finish the story when we get back. Coach Mike here. Kidz is up. We're done. That's it.
Today, yes.
I guess I can't tell you the story.
Next time.
Thanks for joining us in the Have a great week.
We'll see you next week.